So first, just to start this evening, I'd like to acknowledge all the lives that have been lost in these wars for this great experiment that we are a part of called democracy, and that it has never been, there's always kings and queens and despots, and there was always something there, and we're trying this, and I don't know, some days I think it works and some days I think it doesn't work, but we're trying to bring democracy to our kind of our United States, and that hopefully it is an example for others to attempt this great vision, and that we acknowledge all those who have lost their lives in the upholding, known to them or unknown to them, the ideals of this particular culture, and it's huge sacrifices that whether it's World War II or Korea or Vietnam, and not always in the best of understanding, but it still had this vision behind it, which we can attest to. So tonight, I wanted to start here with one of my poems from Scuffed Up Shoes. Healing. Wait patiently for something, someone to appear, graciously sitting, deflecting stories, breath breathing itself, slowly, painfully taking off your mask, only to grow another, building it back one image at a time, cheeks, nose, mouth, ears, with that little thought of grandeur or impoverishment. Oh boy, sister, how to heal that which is whole. You think, you outthink, you outmaneuver, or possibly you swallow all the light. Ah, but Buddha pointed, couldn't we skip this part? The light inside the dark. So that's for those who have passed on for our ultimate benefit and safety. So I thought we'll just see. I have something I want to read, and then we'll talk about it. But this is from the Venerable Ajahn Chah from a Still Forest Pool, which I have two of them that are just so beaten up, it's phenomenal. You see this mind at work. Do you consider it to be yours? I don't know if it's me or mine, you answer, but it's certainly it's certainly out of control. It goes upstairs, it gets bored, runs back downstairs, it gets tired of that, goes to the movie, gets bored again, has good food or poor food, gets bored with that too. Its behavior is driven not by dispassion, but by different forms of aversion and fear. You have to learn to control. Stop caring for the monkey. Care for the truth of life instead. See the real nature of mind, impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and empty. Learn to be its master. Chain it down if you must. Do not follow it. Let it wear itself out and die. Then you have a dead monkey. I don't know why he does these things. Let the dead monkey rot away, and you have monkey bones. Still, enlightenment does not mean to become dead like a Buddha statue. One who is enlightened thinks also, but knows the process of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and emptiness of self. He who practices must see things clearly. We need to investigate our suffering, stop its causes. If we do not see it, wisdom cannot arise. There should be no guesswork. We must see things exactly as they are. Feelings are just feelings. Thoughts are just thoughts. In this way, we end all of our problems. We can see the mind as a lotus. Some lotuses are still stuck in the mud. Some have climbed above the mud, but are still underwater. Some have reached the surface, while others are open in the sun, stained and free. Which lotus do you choose to be? If you find yourself below the surface, watch out for the for the bites of fish and turtles. So, I don't know. I just thought I could read that because, we spend a lot of time, there's something like chasing our tails. And I think that when we refer to the monkey mind, it is something that is constantly, it's wonderful because we have this ability to imagine and to create. But, where does that come from? Is it just because we keep following, our desires of what's good and bad and happy and sad? Or do we actually have to say, oh, wait, this thing is out of control, and in a sense, kind of turn on the that is playing us, and Ajahn Chah was referring to it as this kind of monkey that's endlessly going up and down the stairs and the refrigerator and then to the couch, and then maybe I'll go to the gym now, maybe I'll, it's like maybe all the time. And somehow it's not that that's good or bad, by the way, because I think actually in some ways it's just our nature, and I see a lot of these practices as simply our capacity. First of all, is can we kind of find presence through our, sitting practice. I think, for many, many years, I just thought sitting practice was some kind of doing, that I had to do something. And as the years have passed, I realized it's not about doing. It's actually about seeing what it is that's occurring, And so, in a sense, at first, it's being able to collect things, to kind of get our mind to soften and come into harmony with the way things are, and we have to find that, and it takes when we say it takes a lot of work. Well, in some ways it's like ethics. It's common sense, If you're going to cause harm, harm's going to come to you. If you're careful with your world and realize that life is about this middle way, and that I have to, in some sense, find sanity in the midst of all this, So there's nothing, to me, there is a lot to say, because I spent many years of really, in a sense, trying to learn to control. And a lot of that, I think, was out of fear of, of a lot of mistakes I'd made. And I thought if I could control the whole thing, then I'd be okay. And at first, I think that actually worked. I was like, oh yeah, okay. This I see this. But after a while, and when the mind kind of settles down, that monkey is not so enamored with its experience of the senses, that it actually has to step back and say, no, you know what? I've experienced all these things, and now I can see that there is something that's actually greater than those very individual sensual experiences, and say that, oh, there's something that's bigger here. And this is, to me, really what the heart of kind of Buddhist training is that on some level, yes, that's training ourselves out of stuff. And then there's recognizing what's already there, And to me, this is really it's kind of the bottom line here, is that, you are whole already. And when you stop being the monkey and chasing and thinking that somehow, it will, sometimes, yes, it's true, you get relief. And I'm not saying that that's good or bad. I'm saying the nature of the mind is, it simply is chasing. And the nature of practice is first saying, okay, slow down. Okay, now, what is it that, what is it that allows that sanity to be there? And we've referred to it, and I know it's been kind of co-opted so much, this word mindfulness, which I prefer actually the word awareness, that somehow awareness there is something that, you kind of forget all the time. You walk out the door and, you had a good meditation this morning and you walk out and you forgot completely. But, really what's happening here is that slowly what happens is that imprint of having actually taken the effort to slow the process down and see into it, then gives one a sense of, so what is it that's holding everything? And I ask that of you, what is it that's holding everything? And is it a problem? Now, there's the wheel of life in the Tibetan pantheon there of things, and there is this, this basically the circle of how all of it happens, and in the center are these three states, and they're referred to as greed, hatred, and delusion. And I think greed and hatred are the things we see, but delusion is not something we see so much. So actually, when we start these practices, we're actually dealing with the greed and the aversion, and then as we mature with this practice, then it actually goes back to delusion. And the delusion is all about, who you think you are. Oh, I am, I am, I'm something, and say, oh yes, I'm neurotic, but that we know that. And but the thing is, there's something bigger that is actually holding all this, and that holds everything. It's not like a god or some power outside. It's actually the nature of awareness itself. This is from one of the Mahasiddhis. To refer to ultimate reality, dharmata, as sky-like original nature, understanding that to be sky-like is to have no intrinsic nature at all. You got that? Understand that to be sky-like is to have no intrinsic nature at all. It is completely beyond objectification and beyond concepts such as is or is not, both is or is not, or something other than is or is not. Between sky, mind, and ultimate reality, no distinction should be made. All these terms should be taken as mere designations and concepts. Everything is one's own mind. Not so much as an atom exists outside of mind, Whatever realizes that from the very beginning, there has been nothing other than mind, has acquired the realization of all the Buddhas of the three times, past, present, and future. So, we can get this, and unfortunately, this is something that has to be repeated simply because we created the habits which are, can I use the word non-essential? And that we start turning the mind around in a sense on itself. And I want to clarify a word though, because there's this word mind. There's kind of two minds. There's sem in Tibetan. It actually means the relative mind, and the relative mind is what is always classifying or clarifying things. And there's also ultimate mind, and maybe that's in the English language. I think that it really has to be. You could say it's mind heart, because you can't really separate the mind from the heart in Dharma. It's not possible, and in that way, you can't actually, in essence, why I put a lot of emphasis on body, because it is your gifted tool that you got this round, and we mostly ignore that it is a home for awareness, and that it actually has the properties of one thing beautiful about it is that when the mind touches the body can never be in at the end of that, they said the three times, past, present, future. And when you put your attention in your body, you're always in the present. It's you can't be somewhere else, in the recognizing of body. So it is this fantastic tool that in kind of Western culture we've somewhat ignored. And in this particular case, we can use, it has a way to use it to actually help us to realize and let go of a lot of the manufacturing that you do. This is Ajahn Chah again. You must go beyond all words, all symbols, all plans for your practice. Then you can see for yourself the truth arising right here. If you do not turn inward, you will never know reality. The great meditation masters spoke about the truth within oneself. Practicing, I began to realize that it existed within my own mind. After a long time, I realized that these teachers have really seen the truth, and that if we know, there will be that ability to say, yes, they were right. What else could there be? Just this. When I practice diligently, realization unfolds just like that. If you're interested in Dharma, just give up, just let go. Merely thinking about practice is like pouncing on a shadow and missing the substance. If you follow the basics and practice accordingly, you will see the Dharma for yourself. Observe your own mind and you will have a true standard to judge by. Practice this in this way and the rest will follow naturally. So, these are, in some ways, this is such simple thing, but it's the fact that we get so lost in our views, our opinions, our judgments. They're clouded by our sometimes misperceptions. And there is also this quality that is not something that you're going to get from somewhere else. You're already it. There's actually nothing more you can do with this. It is your very nature, and yet at the same time, because of that spinning of greed, hatred, and delusion, we just can't see it. We don't actually observe it. And so when we come, in some ways, you can say sitting practice, um, when it has an objective, I'm not sure about it, you know. But when it is just the naturalness of beingness, then it actually has this eventually this quality that doesn't separate things. It actually is always seeing the incorporation of things, like, oh, this is always a part of this or that, or whatever. So in that, and if there's no I or me or mine in it, then it has this phenomenal quality of a sense of you know it's like, I think in these times it's so easy to get caught up in, maybe I don't know, anxiety or depression. It's like, oh, here are two very identifiable states that sometimes have come out of the boredom of just having to stay home, or you know that without the standard stimulus, this is what occurs. And it is unfortunate, because I feel like these times have been a marvelous, marvelous time for human beings to actually um, I say this only in jest, but I wish that somehow that this, what, year and 3 months of this pandemic have brought solace and actually great awareness to our culture, you know. But I can only say that for myself, and you can only say it for yourself. But I also think that, in a sense, we were given this gift, this possibility, you know. And I'm really sorry for those who got ill and died, or that this was much more, confronting something than simply sitting in, and somewhat in isolation. And I do look forward to, at some point, that we can all come back to the center. I don't know how or when that can happen, but I also know that somehow, and I have a little bit different take on this. I talked to another teacher who thought this was, that this Zoom stuff was the milk toast of it all. But actually, I think coming back, it's useful. But there's also something about humans when they sit together. There is um, and I can't put my finger on it because I can't say what it is, but I think you know what I'm saying. That there is, uh, uh, we're we're not herd creatures, but we have somewhat herd mentality. So there is something about coming back together with that, and you know it's interesting how when we come and we sit together, there's the energetic field. And maybe in some ways, coming on Zoom, it has to be created. And that's my job, where I think we come to the center, and I've done a lot more guided practice than I ever have in my life, And why? Because it's actually somewhat necessary in the circumstances. But I also look forward to that time when, We can sit for 40 minutes or 45 minutes or 2 hours, I don't care, where there's just a collective silence, that is not, it doesn't have to help or be directed. It's simply what our very nature is when we come together, and I don't think that's something you can actually name. It's only something that can be felt. And I look forward to that. Because this is from Alama, anyway. Because phenomena arises in the space of my mind, like rainbows in the sky, I am happy. The nature of mind is empty and luminous, like broad sky, because it has no center or edge. I am happy. Meditation and post-meditation, appearances and mind have blended into one taste. Because I look at any display of phenomena like this, I am happy. All cyclic existence and the transcendence are complete within the mind, because I neither accept nor reject samsara or nirvana. I am happy. Objects of meditation and the meditator have blended together, because the aim of meditation is not merely discipline. I am happy. Although I thought I was not meditating, I am. This is a big statement. Because meditation neither continues nor ends, I am happy. Because indiscriminate compassion for all unrealized beings has been born in me, I am happy. Because I have acted for the benefit of beings without longing for things, a magician conjures, I am happy. Because I have acted, because wherever an illusionary body perishes, the one who dies is liberated into the word is Dharmakaya, kind of the ultimate. I am happy. Because form bodies will come for the benefit of all beings without moving from the realm of the Dharmakaya, I am happy. In this life, I am happy. And in the next one, I will be happy. I pray that all beings also will be happy like this. So get over it. So, this is the thing about Buddhism is it's rather paradoxical. And yet at the same time, they talk about this as mind training. And maybe you could call it mind untraining. Maybe better, that we're trying to untrain our obsession to somehow control and steer things for our happiness. Which, it's not that it's right or wrong. It's just that there's more to it than that. So I don't know. I think I'm going to just throw this out and we'll see where we go. I'm just kind of circling around here, but if there's something that catches you and all that, and you have a question about it, great. If you don't, I'm really happy. Then maybe you know that I know that you know that we know, and we all know. It's cool. But you may have a question. Robert, I see your hand up.